Hello and welcome to Lamplighter. Today is November 12. Today, as we continue to explore the final week of Jesus' life before he goes to the cross, today's reading is going to be focused primarily on some very difficult and very challenging teachings that Jesus is giving to his disciples. This section in our daily Bibles is entitled Discourse on Future Events. And there is always a debate among scholars as to the timing of the things Jesus here is saying. Some would argue that the things that we read about in today's reading are Jesus' prediction of the destruction of Jerusalem that we know historically is going to happen around 70 AD, just a few years later from the time that Jesus speaks these words. Others would say Jesus is talking about end of time kind of things. And as we saw when we were going through the prophets, it is very likely that both parties are right. You see, Jesus is talking about a time when Jerusalem is going to be destroyed, when the temple more particularly is going to be destroyed. And that does happen in 70 AD. But Jesus is also talking clearly about some things that are going to happen at the end of time, which becomes more clear as he tells some parables at the end of today's reading today. So as we read, let's watch for these kind of hints to see what is the message Jesus is giving to his disciples then, and what messages can his disciples like us take from his words even today. So we begin with a discussion of the temple itself. When the disciples are walking by and they say to Jesus, "Do you see all these great buildings?" And they're just marveling at the architecture and at the structure. And Jesus says, "Do you see all these great buildings? Not one stone here will be left on another. Every one will be thrown down." That is a clear prediction of the destruction of the temple. So later the disciples ask him more about that. They say, "When will this happen? And what will be the sign of your coming and the end of the age?" And Jesus says some very difficult things here in response. Jesus answered, "Watch out that no one deceives you, for many will come in my name, claiming I am the Christ, and will deceive many. You will hear of wars and rumors of wars, but see to it that you are not alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come. Nation will rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places. All these are the beginnings of birth pains. You must be on your guard. You will be handed over to local councils, and you will be flogged in the synagogues. On account of me, you will stand before governors and kings as witnesses to them. But do not worry beforehand about what to say. Say whatever is given you at the time, because it is not you speaking, it is the Holy Spirit. Because of the increase of wickedness, the love of many will grow cold. He who stands firm to the end will be saved, and this gospel of the kingdom will be preached in the whole world as a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come." So some pretty powerful predictions Jesus is making here. He says there will be great distress in the land and wrath against the people. They will fall by the sword and will be taken as prisoners to all the nations. Jerusalem will be trampled by the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles are fulfilled. False Christs and false prophets will appear and perform great signs and miracles to deceive even the elect, if that were possible. See, I have told you ahead of time. So if anyone tells you, "There he is out in the desert," do not go out. Or, "There he is in the inner rooms," do not believe it. For as lightning that comes from the east is visible even in the west, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. Wherever there is a carcass, there the vultures will gather. At that time they will see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and with glory. Your redemption is drawing near. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass away. So even though I just read some excerpts here, you can see that Jesus is giving the disciples really more than they can handle to think about here. And it does seem at times that he's talking about the impending destruction of Jerusalem and the temple. But at other times it seems that this prophecy has broadened to talk about the Son of Man coming in his glory as in the second coming of Christ at the end of the age. And so he goes on to talk about how all of these things are really unknown. And so it's important to be alert. It's important to watch. It's important to be ready. He says, no one knows about that day or hour, not even the angels in heaven, nor the Son, but only the Father. As it was in the days of Noah, so it will be at the coming of the Son of Man. For in the days before the flood, people were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, up to the day Noah entered the ark, and they knew nothing about what would happen until the flood came and took them all away. That's how it will be at the coming of the Son of Man. 2 men will be in the field, one will be taken, and the other left. So keep watch. You do not know on what day your Lord will come, but understand this. If the owner of the house had known at what time of night the thief was coming, he would have kept watch and would not have let the house be broken into. So you also must be ready, because the Son of Man will come at an hour when you do not expect him. So Jesus is talking here to his disciples about themes of watchfulness, themes of fruitfulness, being very productive in their lives as they wait, and constantly being on the alert, being ready for when the Lord might come. So some very difficult teachings here. Jesus telling them to be ready, to watch, and that he'll be with them. It's a little bit reminiscent of some things said by the psalmist in that beautiful psalm, Psalm 23. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil because you are with me. Your rod and staff, they comfort me. Those are words that you could kind of superimpose upon these words of Jesus, because he's saying there are some hard times coming. There are going to be some dark days ahead, but don't be afraid. I'm going to be with you. I'm going to give you the things that you need to say. I'm going to give you every protection that you need. You just make sure that you're watching, that you're fruitful, and you're ready at all times for the Son of Man to come. So then he closes our reading today with the telling of a couple of parables. These are ones that are probably familiar to most. The first is the parable of 10 virgins who are going and trimming their lamps and waiting for the coming of a bridegroom. And as they wait, the hour lingers on and their lamps begin to go out. And the wise virgins, 5 of them, have brought extra oil for their lamps. The foolish virgins have not. And so now as the hour wears on, the foolish virgins realize when the bridegroom comes, we're not going to be able to trim our lamps because we don't have enough oil. So they say to the wise ones, share your oil with us. And they say, we can't do that because we want to be ready. Why don't you go into town and get what you need? While the foolish ones answer their challenge and go to get more oil, the bridegroom comes. And he accepts those who are ready and come in. And then he closes the door. When the foolish virgins get back, they knock on the door and they see that they've missed the bridegroom. But the bridegroom says, I don't even know who you are. Some pretty harsh words here. But the point is, always be watchful. Always be ready, because we never know when Jesus is going to come again. A similar parable is told with the parable of the talents. One person is given 5 talents, one person is given 2, and one is given 1. And they're to go out and do what they can with these talents until the master returns. When the master returns, they have responded in various ways, except for the man with 1 talent who does nothing with his. And then even his talent is taken away from him. He was not productive. He was not fruitful. He was not ready for the master to return. And then we have Jesus' words concerning the last judgment, with the separation of the righteous and the unrighteous, the sheep from the goats, those who've served him and those who've not. The righteous are surprised that they have even been serving God when they've lived a life of service. The foolish are the unfaithful are also surprised because they think they've been serving God all along. But the ultimate judgment is coming. And even we today need to be watchful. We need to be fruitful, and we need to be ready. Isn't it great to be a lamplighter? His word is a lamp to our feet and a light to our path. I hope you have a blessed day.